Hello and welcome to an episode that talks about technology determinism. I am Sakshi Mandwal and today's subject expert is Ms. Swati Singh, a media professional for the last 15 years specializing in mass communication. She has worked as a media professional with Hindustan Times, Indian Express, Career Launchers, Times of India, etc. and have also taught digital and new media in various universities and colleges including the Delhi University. Today, we shall be discussing about the technology determinism, which shall be pointing at the role of technology in our life and society. Now, let's start by discussing the objectives of this episode. Objectives of the lesson: to understand the theory of technology determinism, to discuss the various examples of the theory with respect to innovations like printing press to aggressive theories like the gunpowder empires, etc., to learn about imagined communities, to discuss the forms of technology determinism, the theory of technological drift, technological determinism and media, to understand the criticism of technological determinism. Let us begin by understanding the meaning of technology determinism. Technological determinism is a reductionist theory that aims to provide a causative link between technology and a society's nature. It tries to explain as to whom or what could have a controlling power in human affairs. The theory questions the degree to which human thought or action is influenced by technological factors. The term technological determinism was coined by Thorstein Veblen, who was a Norwegian American economist and sociologist, who during his lifetime emerged as a popular critique of capitalism. This particular theory revolves around the proposition that technology in any given society defines its true nature. Technology is viewed as the driving force of culture in society and it determines its course of history. Another popular political theorist, Karl Marx, believed that technological progress led to newer ways of production in a society, and this ultimately influenced the culture, political and economic aspects of society, thereby inevitably changing society itself. He explained this statement with the example of how a feudal society that used a hand mill slowly changed into an industrial capitalist society with the introduction of the steam mill. Technological determinism is the theory that a society's technology determines its cultural values, social structure and history. According to the theory, social progress follows an inevitable course that is driven by technological innovation. Technological determinism has two central concepts. First, that technological development itself follows a predictable, traceable path that is beyond any cultural or political influence. And second, that the technology in turn organizes society in a way to further develop itself. The communications theorist and media scholar, the very well-known Marshall McLuhan, laid out one famous example of technological determinism in his book, Understanding Media, The Extensions of Man, wherein he asserted that the medium is the message. This rejection of content in favor of the technological medium as an important consideration in media studies is only one facet of technological determinism, but in many ways it is the classic example. The theory of technological determinism contradicts the theory of social construction of technology, which holds that society itself shapes the consequences of technology. Although technological determinism has largely fallen out of favor with academia, it remains a popular view throughout popular culture. Langdon Winner, who is a known chair of humanities and social sciences in Science Department of Science and Technology Studies at Troy, New York, provided two hypotheses for this theory. First, the technology of a given society is a fundamental influencer of the various ways in which a society exists. Second, changes in technology are the primary and most important source that leads to change in the society. An offshoot of the above hypothesis, which is not as extreme, is the belief that technology influences the various choices that we make, and therefore a changed society can be traced back to changed technologies. Technological determinism manifests itself at various levels. Initially, it starts with the introduction of newer technologies, introduces various changes, and at times these changes can also lead to a loss of existing knowledge as well. For example, the introduction of newer agricultural tools and methods has seen the gradual loss of knowledge of traditional means of farming. Therefore, technology is also influencing the level of knowledge in a society. Examples of technological determinism. History shows us numerous examples to explain why technology is considered to be determining the society that we live in. The invention of the gun changed how disputes were sorted out and changed the face of combat. A gun required minimum effort and skill to be used successfully and could be used from a safe distance. This was when compared to how earlier wars were fought with swords and archery, led to a radical change in the weapons used in a war. Today, with the discovery of nuclear energy, future wars will be fought with a nuclear arsenal. Each new discovery causes a transition to a different society. The discovery of steam power led to the development of the industrial society, and the introduction of computers has led to the dawn of the information age. Examples of technological determinism. The following are examples of how technology has determined and altered the future of human history. First, the significant invention of writing. Walter J. Ong 1982 argued that writing fundamentally changed human society forever, allowing it to break free from the limits imposed by the oral transmission of knowledge. Walter Ong believed that oral culture tended towards rigidity and hierarchical control of society. Knowledge was held exclusively in the mind, and human history was shared through the generations like a big game of telephone. Writing, Ong believed, allowed easier access to knowledge to a large number of people. It also freed up the human mind from the need of constantly storing information in their minds. But now, it could be recorded on paper. Thus, one technological breakthrough altered the course of human history forever, making possible everything else that followed it. Second, stir-ups and European feudalism. The Princeton historian Lynn Townsend White Jr., in his book Medieval Technology and Social Change, argues that the invention of the stir-up enabled the establishment of feudalism in Europe. Feudalism remained the dominant mode of political and social organization in European society for nearly a millennium. The stir-up, according to White, allowed combatants to engage their opponents from the advantageous position of being seated on horseback using weapons such as the lance and the longsword. Thanks to horseback conflict, there emerged a class of cavalrymen who were rewarded for their services in combat with land grants, resulting in the development of feudalism. Third, the gunpowder empires. The term gunpowder empires refers to three Islamic empires of Turkic origin: the Mughal Empire in South Asia, the Safavid Empire in Persia, and the Ottoman Empire in Turkey. These empires flourished between the 14th and 18th centuries on account of being early adopters of gunpowder-based artilleries. This gave them greater military might and control over their own vast territories. The things that made the gunpowder empires different from other empires were the vast territories they controlled, the great degree of centralization they achieved, and the concept of the entire state as a unified military force. All these were the result of the advantage they enjoyed on the battlefield on account of their early adoption of gunpowder-based firearms. Gunpowder had a lasting impact on the societies of the regions in which these empires flourished. In many cases, it laid the foundation for the modern nation states that were to emerge as the successor states to these empires. So, the national imagination of modern Turkey looks back at the Ottoman Empire as its cultural and spiritual predecessor, as witnessed by the phenomenal popularity of the Turkish TV series Dirilis, Ertugrul, that is based on the life of the founder of the Ottoman Empire. Similarly, the Mughal Empire directly inspired Islamic nationalism in South Asia, leading to the formation of modern-day Pakistan and Bangladesh, and leaving a deep and lasting influence on the culture of India. Where, for instance, the Mughal era Taj Mahal is one of the most instantly recognizable visual icons. Each of the three states still persists with many administrative, political, and cultural practices of the Mughal Empire, thanks to the invention of the gunpowder. Fourth, the printing press and the modern nation state. The Canadian media theorist Marshall McLuhan, 1911 to 1980, was one of the foremost proponents of technological determinism. In his influential book, The Gutenberg Galaxy, The Making of Typographic Man, McLuhan argued that the invention of the printing press was a decisive technological breakthrough that changed human society forever. It changed humanity by allowing the rapid and economical replication and dissemination of books and printed texts, allowing ideas, news, thoughts, and ideologies to spread at a pace never witnessed before in human history. Expanding on McLuhan's ideas, Benedict Anderson in 1983 used the term print capitalism to describe how the printing press allowed for the creation of a cohesive society with a common language and common culture. Now we shall be discussing the interesting concept of imagined community with respect to technology determinism. Weekly newspapers allowed for everyone within a nation to receive the same news in the newspaper every week. In turn, people started to see themselves as being part of the same shared culture, as per McLuhan. This cohesive society then began to think of itself as an imagined community. Such imagined communities, according to Anderson, became the modern-day nation-states, marking a radical departure from the way in which human society was organized in tribes, rather than nations until now. Anderson called nations imagined communities to explain that most members of a nation will never meet each other, but through the technologies of mass media shared a culture. The mass media is controlled by the state and disseminates nationalist propaganda. So it spread the idea of a shared culture across a single community. Thus, one technology, printing press, determined the most prevalent form of political organization in human societies, the nation state. Fifth, the internet and technology determinism. The internet and the microprocessor based computer are the most disruptive technologies that have revolutionized the human experience on earth in the past century. Think of how we can now communicate instantly with millions of strangers spread out in all corners of the planet. We can use our smartphones to capture pictures, listen to music, order food, and everything in between. The internet has massively transformed our lives, and according to technological determinism, social change was inevitable after the invention of the internet. Our lives to a great extent revolve around our smartphones and tablets connected 24/7 to the internet. It's so ubiquitous in our lives that it is now replacing physical interaction as the preferred mode of communication. An interesting area to study, new media and the so-called digital media have also become a means of mass mobilization, impacting politics and in turn the organization of human society. This is a technological transformation that is still unfolding, and its full impact will perhaps be known only to the future generations. Can we truly imagine what the history of the 21st century would look like had it not been for the internet? And now it is time to talk about the strengths and weaknesses of technological determinism theory. The strengths of the theory are a wide historical coverage. It explains technological changes from the beginning of the human history. As a grand theory, technological determinism covers the entire sweep of human history, right from prehistoric technologies such as the invention of the wheel to 21st century changes such as cryptocurrencies. It provides a theoretical explanation for the evolution of all human societies. The power of adaptability. As an interesting feature of the theory, it can be rather easily adapted to include and acknowledge the role of free will. People who do this are called soft determinists. The technology determinism theory is not rigid and can be adapted to explain complex phenomena. For instance, the theory admits the possibility of two kinds of technological determinism, hard and soft. Hard determinists hold that technology plays a complete and totalizing role in shaping human society. Soft determinists believe that while technology is an important factor in shaping the course of human history, the manner in which humans interact with society also needs to be considered. The weaknesses of the theory include reductionism. This explains only the complex changes in the societies with respect to the relationship with technology. However, there are other factors that need to be considered. A reductionist theory is one that reduces a complex, multi-layered phenomenon to a neat, oversimplified narrative. Human interactions with technology and the effect of such interactions form a complex process that cannot always be reduced to a simple cause and effect relationship as envisioned by technological determinism. Ignoring of free will. It tends to underplay the importance of human free will in choosing how to use technology. It is rather disturbing to note that technological determinism overlooks the role that human free will plays in the use of technology. Any technology can have an impact on human society only in relation to the human will to use it and the human will to submit to its influence. For instance, while the internet and smartphones are ushering in a technological revolution, many people are choosing to undergo what is popularly known as digital detox or a willful avoidance of technology. Now, let us discuss the phenomena of the technological drift. Winner believed that the changes in technology sometimes had unintended or unexpected results and effects as well. Winner called this phenomena as technological drift, where people start drifting more and more among a sea of unpredictable and uncertain consequences. According to Winner, technology is not the slave of the human being, but rather humans are slaves to technology as they are forced to adapt to the technological environment that surrounds them. And it's about time we talk about the forms of technological determinism. An alternative, weaker view of technological determinism says that technology is serving a mediating function because despite its leading to changes in culture, it is actually controlled by human beings. When control of technology slowly reduces from being in the hands of few human beings, it passes completely into the control of technology itself. The views of humans having no control is referred to as autonomous technological determinism. We further move on to technological determinism and media. As already discussed, new media are not only an addition to existing media, they are also new technologies and therefore do have a deterministic factor as well. Marshall McLuhan made a famous statement that the medium is the message. This means that the medium used to communicate influences the mind of the receiver. The introduction of news, print, television and the internet have all shown how technological advances have an impact on the society in which we live in. Lastly, we come to the criticism of technological determinism. A critique of technological determinism is that technology never forces itself on members of the society. Man creates technology and chooses to use them. He invents television and chooses to view it. There is no imposition on the part of the technology to be used. Rather, technology requires people to participate or involve themselves at some point or another to use a car or a microwave. The choice of using technology and experiencing its effects therefore lies in the hand of a human being. Now, let us conclude. The theory of technological determinism has its pros and cons. It does show us how technologies can dramatically change the course of human history. And particularly in today's climate, we can see how the internet is changing the economic, political and cultural makeup of society. But we also run the risk of overstating the impact of technology on the future. It's not technology that determines our future, but our uptake on use of technology. We as a society and individuals still have the free will to choose how to use technology and determine how it will and will not shape our own futures. And now it's time for a quick recap. Today we discussed about the exciting theory of technological determinism. We discovered that the society is living parallel to technology. In fact, it is rather interesting to note that technology has a direct effect on the society and its fabric. It helps in bringing about revolution in the lifestyle, thought process and overall development. We also understood the fact that we cannot avoid the use of technology and that we have to accept the influence on us, media and our environment at large. That is all that we had for you for today. Hope you enjoyed the session and learned about technology determinism, its aspect and significance. We shall return with another interesting episode on new media. Until then, goodbye and namaskar.